Hello and welcome. I'm Octavia, intuitive relationship strategist. And today's topic is going to be about the three basic relationship types and how they interplay with your productivity and effectiveness in your business. So I'm going to cover the three types and what kinds of neuroscience effects, what kind of neuroscience is playing into your productivity in each of these types of relationships. So we're going to cover if you're in a happy relationship, if you're if you're not in a relationship at all, or if you're in a relationship that's rocky, or some people would say toxic. So there's a whole spectrum there of a relationship that you're in, but it's not like the most ideal relationship that you would love to be in. So when you are in a relationship that's really good, you're happy, right? You're happy, and there are some really good neurotransmitters going on there. You're getting oxytocin, you're getting dopamine, you're getting pheromones, you're getting hormones, and all of these are creating this a type of brain chemistry that is really uplifted. It's really uplifted. It's floating your boat. And so as long as that relationship is also supportive of you being in business and being an entrepreneur, being a career-minded person, you are getting a lot of benefits from that relationship. Just on a side note, if the relationship isn't very supportive, then we're going to handle that in the rocky relationship part of this chat. And so if you are really feeling very satisfied, both parties are feeling very satisfied in this relationship, you can work things out, you have skills as a couple. But then when you go to work in the morning, you have this like background of supportive neurochemistry that helps you drop right into your flow state. And from there, you're able to get your work done. Actually, you can get your work done really effectively, faster, more effectively. And yes, of course, you're still going to want to manage your energy throughout the day, and I have tactics for that. However, in general, and you'll see when I go into the other relationship formats, you're going to find that you are more supported, you are able to get more done. And the really cool thing is that because you're more effective and more efficient, you're actually saving time throughout the day. You're getting things done faster, you're overcoming, you're not having as much personal resistance. That's something you can talk out with your partner and work through some of these types of things so that when you go and sit down and do something challenging, you kind of have like your boat's being floated a little bit. You have that support where I'm going to push through this. I have that extra oomph that I need to push through something. As entrepreneurs, we are often like that extra 10% of oomph that we have. It's beyond motivation, but it's like a willpower. Really comes in handy when we're doing the endless numbers of challenges that we're always encountering in our business, right? And for example, we might have a really tricky sales call, or we might be launching something new and big and better than we've ever launched it before. We might be conducting a Zoom training that has a greater number of people that we've ever spoken in front of before. All of these types of things are what I call the leadership edge, when we have like all of us, we're 110% present. And when you have a happy, healthy relationship at home that's supporting you, that leadership edge is right there for you, because you're not fighting against, you're not having to level up your brain chemistry to get you into that state of consciousness. You're automatically there. So these are some of the benefits of creating a really healthy, happy relationship and creating the skill set to navigate difficult times in your relationship, because that just brings you closer and you have a really good connection, you have really good intimacy. All of that facilitates your success in business. Okay, so let's go on to the opposite end of the spectrum. You're single and you're a solopreneur. And now it's the pandemic, right? Pandemic, and you're actually even more solo than you usually are. And you're spending a lot of time at home. Okay, so several different things I want to bring in here because this has been my situation and I learned so tremendously much from my neuroscience coaching program about this that has really turned me around and helped me get my brain chemistry into that place where I can tap right into my flow whenever I need to. So when you're a solo entrepreneur, so what I want to back up and say, our brains are wired for socializing. We are really wired for socializing. And in preparation for my day today, I actually went out and socialized last night, and I am feeling so much more uplifted today. It's very inspiring to be around other people because our brains are wired for socializing. We get a lot of oxytocin, we get a lot of those neurotransmitters that you would see on a day-to-day basis in your relationship. And because of that, it's going to be easier for you to drop into your flow. Now, if you are more isolated, say you live in the country, you're only socializing through the screen, which also still counts as socializing. It really does. I know it's not everyone's ideal, but it still totally counts as socializing. You will find yourself having some energetic dips, some energetic dropouts during your day. And this is assuming that you're a mentally healthy person. If you've got other kinds of things going on, like for most of my life, I had kind of a low grade depression going on. I also have had my fair share of anxiety. If you have those kinds of things going on, then you might actually be in a little bit of a battle for your good mood. Maybe you have to take a lot of extra steps to pump yourself up to be in a good mood. And if you're not in a good mood and you go to approach your work that day, you'll find that it's a lot harder. It's a grind. It's a grind getting your work done. And when I say it's a grind getting your work done, I think like what I mean by that is you go to write a post and you know the difference. When you're in a really good mood, you're socialized, everything's caught up, your neurotransmitters are really flowing. You go to write a post, for example, and you are just on it. You're just having it. It's coming through really easy and fast for you, and you get that thing done. So that's the kind of thing that people who have a really happy, healthy relationship, they can drop right into that. And again, they get their work done a lot faster. But if you are battling moods, battling low-grade depression, anything like that, then you're not operating from the best part of your brain. You're operating from a lower part of your brain. I'm pointing back here because this is where the amygdala lives. And that's about survival. It's about fear states and things like that. So any of those lower emotions like resistance or just the grind, let's just call it the grind. Whenever you are in the grind, things are going to take a lot longer because you don't have good, happy brain chemistry. But the good news is it's really easy to flip to your prefrontal cortex where you have access to innovation, creativity, the flow of ideas. You can jump into your flow state a lot easier, all from the prefrontal cortex. This is the more modern part of our brain. It's not as much associated with survival and things like that. So what we want to do is we want to flip to the front part of our brain. So one of the things I do for that is I have a practice of every 20 minutes, about 27, 28 minutes, I will take a break, a 3 or 4 minute break. And this is something Brendan Burchard recommends. And in his interviews of all the successful people, he found that almost all of them do this practice of 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off, some proportion like that. It doesn't have to be an exact science, but when you take these little mini breaks throughout your day, you end the day with energy. And especially if you do it like this, where you are praising yourself and celebrating what you just accomplished in the previous 30 minutes. And it's okay if you have to fake it until you make it. You just spent 30 minutes and you've got it on the timer that you just spent 30 minutes not being very productive or not being focused. that's another thing that's nice about putting yourself on a timer, a time leash, is that you tend to be a lot more focused, and you're trying to beat the clock. It can be kind of a game. Can I get this done in a half an hour? That kind of thing. It's fun. But in the 3 to 4 minutes, you want to praise yourself. You want to celebrate. You want to check in with the higher reason, your philanthropic legacy, perhaps. The higher reason why you're working so hard in your business is to, in my case, I'm getting a bee sanctuary. It's my dream. I want to create a beautiful, beautiful property that's full of blooming flowers, so the bees are really happy, producing nice, wonderful honey. That's my dream. So when I get up in the morning and when I connect with my higher purpose and my higher reasoning, it all brings me, all of those things bring you into your prefrontal cortex. And when you're in your prefrontal cortex, you have more neurotransmitters. You have dopamine. Dopamine is your reward system. So if you are praising yourself and celebrating anything, I don't care if it's stupid, praise what you just did in the previous 30 minutes, and you can bring yourself into the prefrontal cortex and you can get back into a higher state of productivity. Okay. So let me segue now into a situation where you've got, because I think you kind of, now you've got some background. And when I go into this rocky relationship, a toxic relationship, you're going to kind of know a little bit more about where I'm headed with this, right? So let's just say you've got a person at home who maybe they're confusing. They don't let you know what their needs are. They don't let you know how to please them. They're always dancing around the clarity. They might have intimacy issues. They might have emotional intimacy issues where they are really connected with you at one point in time and then very, very detached. And this is all very unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get with that person. And you're charmed by them. Like maybe you're kind of in love with them. Maybe the sex is really good. Like I can't tell you how many toxic relationships I've been in where the sex was really good. I swear to God, these narcissistic people, bipolar people, they've got that part worked out. I think that's how they get people into relationship, is by bringing those charms out, and being really fun and engaging, and especially in the first few months when things are, you're in your honeymoon phase. They got that worked out. And then, you might be in love with that person, or you might feel really connected and you really want it to work. I think for women, we've got like an oxytocin bonding thing going on. You could actually have like a little bit of trauma bonding, but the complexity, I think, for men is like, I'm so interested in solving this puzzle. Good men especially want to know how to please their partner, to keep the relationship smooth and operating, to get that support from their partner, to get the regular sex from their partner. And so it's a puzzle, and men love to solve puzzles, love to solve problems. And they're like looking for how to solve this puzzle with their girl, right? But if she has intimacy problems, she's going to do everything she can to keep you from figuring her out, to keep you from understanding her, to keep you like a little bit off center, like you never really know where you stand in this relationship. And then oftentimes these relationships devolve into sexual and intimacy problems. Like the sex was fine, it was working great, we were both on the same page, and now she's got headaches more often, or they're just messing with your sexuality and your sexual needs and desires, and not giving you the tools you need to get the relationship into like a smooth, harmonious relationship. Maybe she's not accepting your gifts or your love and your connection. So these are some symptoms of a toxic relationship. So where's your head at when you're in a toxic relationship? Your head is in solving the problems of the relationship instead of solving the problems of your business. So at minimum, there's a distraction factor that starts to creep in after a few months with a person like this. And so at minimum, you might find yourself thinking about the argument they had this morning, or why aren't we having sex like we used to, while you're trying to get work done. And now I know men are really good at compartmentalizing. I have like a lot of respect and a small amount of jealousy about the fact that men are able to compartmentalize and like leave certain things at home. But I will tell you that even with this ability to compartmentalize, there's still like some stuff going on in the background. And it will take a little bit of a toll, right? It's taking some of your mind share. It's an energy leak when you're trying to be 110% in your business. You may not be able to get that extra 10% of your leadership edge all the way focused and front and center in your relationship, in your workday. And like, we need that, right? I talked about at the beginning, when you're going into a tough sales call, when you're addressing a large group of people, whether you're giving a presentation or giving a training, you need all of your presence there to connect with people and be able to address their questions and be really focused and present with them. You need all of that with you. Let's say you're trying to plan a big launch. You need like, or whatever part of your business is the most challenging part of your business to accomplish. Some of it's sales, some of it's planning, some of it's finances. Any of those places that are the most challenging parts of your business, we need all of our willpower online when we're doing that kind of work. So if there's anything in the background that's a distraction, that's a question about the home life, not knowing what you're going to go home to, worried about getting home on time or what you're going to show up to when you get home, maybe not like questioning whether you want to finish your workday and go home because it's so unpredictable. Like, all of these things are they're just in the background, nagging away at your ability to compartmentalize and be focused and present in your work. So part of you, like, your brain is almost in two places. Part of you is in the worry part of your brain, which is in the amygdala, the fear, like, is there going to be drama when I get home? And the other part of you is still, trying to focus here. So what this does is that overall it extends your workday. You don't have all of the neurotransmitters that a happy, healthy relationship has, or even if you're a solopreneur and you have the capability of pumping yourself up to be able to get into your higher flow states, to be able to really get into that, like dropping into your work and getting it done, like banging out really quickly. You don't have access to all of those really happy neurotransmitters. You've got some, but you're that extra like edge, that 10%, I call it your leadership edge, is not easy for you to access. It's not easy for you to get there. Like, you have to take extra measures, because what's happening with you compared to the other two situations is that you're actually having to overcome. You're having to fight against this relationship. So in the first case, when you have a happy relationship, you're just like in the flow, your boat is floating. In a solopreneur state, yes, you might be fighting some depression, some anxiety, especially if you don't want to be single, that kind of stuff. But you are not actively coping with a toxic relationship and the destabilization that a toxic relationship brings into your overall life. So this is why I wanted to bring these three forms of relationship here. My overall passion is for entrepreneurs to be successful and happy. I believe that we are here to change the world, make the world a better place. And we've had to bring all of ourselves to bear to make that happen. And we chose the entrepreneurial path because we are growth oriented. We want to live into our higher potential. It's really important to understand these brain dynamics. We carry this thing around with us everywhere we go, into our relationships, into our exercise, into our family relationships with our children, into our team relationships as we are a manager in our workplace. We carry this thing around with us everywhere we go, into the bed at night when we go to sleep. So we need to know how it operates so that we can optimize the way our brains the ways our brains are operating. And when that optimization of our peak mental performance, we are able to achieve greater things as entrepreneurs. And the faster we can achieve, the faster we can bump up our levels of success, the more we have to give back. The more we have to give back, the more we have to give to make the world a better place. The more I can help my bees fly in my bee sanctuary philanthropic legacy dream that I'm achieving. And so I want to leave this on a high note. I'm Octavia, intuitive relationship strategist. And this has been really appreciate your time and attention with me here today. And you have an awesome, fantastic rest of your day. If you have any questions about the material that I've covered, please feel free to reach out to me for a consultation about your particular situation. You have a great day, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.